Good morning. Bit of a dark morning again here, but I decided to do a morning review while I have my coffee still here. It's a review because it's a book review because I've just finished, you could call them two projects, reading a book and doing some bookbinding. So I thought I'd roll them into one video. So the title of the book might be familiar if you saw my last live stream. It's Cities of the Plain I've just finished, and I've done a few repairs on the cover of the book. This is my 1936 edition of the book, and the book originally came in 7 volumes when it was published. They were published one by one, and it came in this beautiful 7 volume edition. But the books that I bound, I read it in that form, right? But the books that I bound are a cheap edition. So if there are 7 volumes in it, this book, and actually is known as two names. One of the names for this Marcel Proust book is Remembrance of Things Past, and the other is In Search of Lost Time. And that's because the first translator, it's from French. It's, you've got translation difficulties there, of getting exact meanings of things. And the first translator apparently didn't speak French very well. A guy called Mon Oncle, and he was learning French as he was translating. So it's supposed to be a very good translation, but not very precise and not exactly what Marcel Proust meant. And that's very important in Proust because Proust is all about beautiful language and using language to explain some of the things about life that are quite tricky to explain without very good language. Some sensory phenomenon and sensory input that we get from the world and how we perceive things. And he describes things, for example, staying at a hotel on holiday and the flag knocking on the flagpole as somebody plays a kind of a Schumann piano piece, which in the distance, which is kind of annoying him. So things like that, summoning up the beach, or the colours a pigeon turns as you look out your hotel window at different times of day, and the pigeon is bobbing on the sea, things like that. So this book, for a start, quite a big tome, and I'm not through it yet. I picked up Cities of the Plain is volume 4 of 7, and I had read volumes 1 to 3 some years ago, and was able to pick it up at 4 without having reread the first ones. But obviously, if you were gonna thought you wanted to read it, you'll be starting at the first one. But they publish them now in very thick volumes, and this is the next one I'm going on to, which constitutes the last volumes. The last 3 volumes, 5, 6, and 7, are in here. So, I would have been very sorry finishing Cities of the Plain, only I knew I had lots of goodies left in this. But this one, when I'm finished, is also going to get bound into the 3 because this is my project. My project was to take cheap editions like this. This is, if you bought this edition, you would be buying 3 different big fat books, and you would have your whole Remembrance of Things Past then. But my project was to rebind into the 7 volumes, and might make a nicer reading experience, but also because I was buying very old books, and one of them had this weird kind of dandruffy thing when I opened it in the package, and it was the glue literally falling apart on it. So that ended up as 2 volumes as per the original 7-volume plan. And I literally took all the glue off that and made it into individual pages before gluing it back together and rebinding it. And I didn't know how much fun that was going to be. I thought that would be the boring bit of binding, taking the glue off and taking all the pages off individually. And I loved it. I put on a bit of music and it was the most chillaxy thing you could do. Anyway, so I'm going to put some, just my few little kind of highlighty bits of bookbinding in at the end of this video, but I'm not going to inflict the whole thing on you of the bookbinding project. There were actually, because there were actually 3 books as well. Here's the 3rd book, a Neal Stephenson one, which is called Cryptonomicon, and it's another favorite book of mine. So the project, the bookbinding project, is about upcycling very old books that I have on my shelf and making them readable again, because a lot of these books, I've read this one as well, a lot of these books are ones that I would reread again. And with the Proust one, I have those in a very pretty sort of wrapping paper binding. But the other 5 volumes, I'm going to have them all blue, but there'll be a few different colours. You know, I have my eye on a William Morris pattern for the next volume. I'm going to read it in that form first. And there are 3 volumes in there, so I might get 2 or 3 in the next paper that I get for the cover. And the William Morris paper I have, it's not really blue, it's more of a grey, but the whole set isn't going to be super matchy, but they're all going to be blue. And then I have a Monet paper I want to use as well. But I'm picking all things that I think relate to the theme of the book as well. So I've beautiful blue peacocks and all kinds of animals on the front of that. That's one of the themes in this book, the idea of man as a bird or an insect. And I will talk about that a little bit now, the theme of that book. Sorry, I stopped for a slug of coffee before it got cold. So the last video I had compared Cities of the Plain. It wasn't really a review, but I mentioned I was reading Cities of the Plain, and I had compared it to an episode in it, to a Jacques Tati film, and I was saying that City of the Plain, like Jacques Tati, was very, very funny and about the same kind of topic of funniness. And actually, on finishing reading it, I thought it reminded me very much of another book that I had read, and it was a psychology book. And it was called Games People Play. It was by a guy called Eric Byrne. And the sort of games he was talking about was psychological games that people play within family groups or social settings. And that's very much what this book is about. And, you know, I can't remember. It's so long ago since I read the other previous books to it that I can't really remember. I would guess that there's a lot of that in it, but I can't remember exactly whether the entire, whether there were entire books, volumes on it. But this volume is the one of the main themes in it. The other main theme, I can't really tell you because it's a spoiler, and I promised you that on my book reviews I'm not going to give spoilers, but it's about being an observer of these weird social habits that people have when they're in, and it's set in an age where it's very much an age of visiting people, of going to parties, of the calling card, of the social niceties, and about your rank within society and everything. And this is the upper echelons of society feature in these volumes, you know. So it's the habits of the rich, you know, and some of the hilarity in the book is because of those kind of social role game plays, you know, role playing games that people are engaging in, and Proust sees how ridiculous they are while engaging in them himself, you know. So if you were wanting a book with kind of, you know, great murder mystery or something in it, you're not going to get it from Proust. It's about something completely different. But the subtlety and nuance with which he analyzes his subject is it had me rolling around the floor laughing in some bits, and in other bits it had me really stopping and rereading things and even writing things out, because I like doing a bit of calligraphy practice, and I some sentences are so lovely I just wrote the whole sentences out and sat and thought about them. This is a book that it is to be read slowly and savored, you know. And while the theme is all, you know, quite a serious theme, it does have a lot of humor in it as well, you know. Um, and I'm really looking forward to the next volumes. I have another book that I'm reading that I was halfway through when I started this one, which I shouldn't really ever do, but I did do it. So I promised myself I'd finish reading the other book before I get on to the last three volumes of this one. But when I finish them, I will bind them as well. I don't think I have to rebind right from the very beginning and take all the glue off, because that book, although I think that was under a fiver as well online, um, the glue wasn't falling apart on. Just the cover was arrived a little bit messed up. So that'll be nice. Very, very, very individual looking volumes. And I have actually written the name just across the front and in handwriting. And you know, the sides don't there aren't really matchy between the two volumes I have so far, but I want them to look handmade, you know. um so I was happy with those. They have matching inside as well. It's very pretty, isn't it? And it's in keeping, I think, with the feel of Proust. And then the other one is about sort of code breaking, and that has a great plot in it. If anybody is into the history of code breaking and everything, there's a lot about Turing and people like that in it. And I um, had the cover in keeping with that. And that's a book cloth that I bought for, but of course you can make your own book cloths for book covers. And, you know, you can make your own little inner. That was also in very kind of dog-eared condition as well, but you know, it's going to last more years now. I actually prefer the kind of, I don't like that kind of spine that much. It looked like a Holy Bible when I bound it in the black, but I kept that look because this logo is kind of inside the book, and it did have a kind of a religious-y look about it, so I just went along with that. It's not perfect. It's got a few lumpy, bumpy bits in it. But, you know, it's like anything, you're going to be on a learning curve when you learn how to do this case binding and curved spine binding. And very handy skill. So if you want to see like highlights of what the chillaxy bits of bookbinding are, I'll show you a few little bits in the rest of the video. Okay, and I hope that people who like reading would have a go at Marcel Proust sometime. You'll know by, if you start at the first volume, you'll know by the first one whether you'd be into it or not, you know. And then that's an interesting idea for upcycling your old books rather than going out and buying new, very fancy volumes, because bookbinding is such a handy skill in itself, particularly if, like me, you draw and use sketchbooks a lot. It's fantastic, or notebooks or anything, you know. A lot of people do commonplace journaling and everything. A lot of people who are readers or do diaries and things like this. So you could make your own, and you could do all kind of matchy, or I like mismatching things, like the idea for that set being slightly mismatched, but they are still a set, you know. Okay, so thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed the book review and enjoyed the little glimpse of my bookbinding.